Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video here on iStarly TV. So yesterday it was announced that the next 7-star raid event is actually coming to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet this week, and that is Typhlosion with the Ghost Tera Type. And of course this is a 7-star raid, so it will have the Mightiest Mark. And this is pretty exciting. A lot of people did speculate that Typhlosion would be the next 7-star raid Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet because they've done Decidueye and then Samurott, so it looks like they're kind of doing the Hisuian starters in a row. And a lot of people are also speculating that we might get Pokemon Home support after this, either after the first wave of the event or maybe after the second. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm really excited for Pokemon Home. So again, this raid event will start this week on the 14th of April, which for my time zone, which is Pacific Standard Time, I think it's called, that'll pretty much be Thursday of this week in the evening, probably around like 4 or 5 p.m. I think is usually when these start, and that'll last until Sunday. So Friday through Sunday is kind of the standard, and then it will return next week. So if you miss out on the first wave of this event this weekend, you will be able to do it next weekend. So again, this is really close to the previous 7-star raid event. So again, that's pretty exciting. But let's talk a little bit about possible counters and stuff for Typhlosion, as we like to do. This is another tricky one. You know, these 7-star raids are always pretty tricky to plan for sometimes because, you know, you can plan for Pokemon that would take hits well from it, if that makes any sense. Like, Typhlosion is a fire type, so you can think about water types, but at the same time, since this is a Tera Ghost type, from the offensive perspective, you have to be able to hit Ghost super effectively. And usually these Pokemon have pretty good coverage in the raids. Now, looking at Typhlosion's move pool, this is on Cerebi.net. This is Typhlosion's page for Scarlet and Violet, so these are all of the moves it can learn, as well as the TMs. Of course, we can ignore the Hisuian form because that's not going to be in the game yet. And this is going to be regular Typhlosion, not Hisuian Typhlosion. And basically, Typhlosion gets a lot of fire-type moves. Now, stat-wise, Typhlosion has a decently high special attack stat, and also a decently high speed stat. So it's got 109 special attack, which is like, that's basically on par with Charizard. That's not extremely high, but it is high enough. And then 100 base speed, which is kind of decent. It also has 84 attack, which is not awful. It's not good, but it's not awful. So there is a chance that this could also be a mixed attacker with physical attacks, because Typhlosion's special move pool is very limited. Again, it gets a lot of fire type options, you know, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Overheat, stuff like that. Then it does also get something like Solar Beam. It also gets Shadow Ball and Focus Blast, which I think are probably going to be the two most important moves to talk about for this, because again, it'll obviously have a fire type move, and that's easy to plan for. You'll obviously want something that can resist fire. And with these events, usually it's hard to pick a single Pokemon that can resist all of the moves that the 7-star raid boss is going to have. So there will always be at least one move that they have that'll hit you for like neutral damage. So there's nothing that's going to be perfect here. But again, because this is a Tera Ghost type, I think it is really likely that it's going to have Shadow Ball, which Typhlosion, of course, does get access to. So yeah, you can expect it to have Shadow Ball, I think. And then once you think about that, once you think of like fire moves and ghost moves and possibly even grass moves in the form of Solar Beam, something that a lot of people have thought of is Pokemon like Houndoom or Hydreigon and stuff like that, because they resist all of those moves. However, Typhlosion does learn Focus Blast, which I think is pretty likely to be on its move pool or move set. I think that this Typhlosion will have Focus Blast, so we should probably prepare for that as well. So basically, you know, if it does not have Focus Blast, then Hydreigon and Houndoom are probably, and Roaring Moon for that matter, are going to be like the best Pokemon for this raid, because they will resist, again, pretty much every single move that Typhlosion has. So that'll be a good spot to be in. Also, Roaring Moon, for example, has really high attack, but also pretty high special defense. So I think Roaring Moon's going to be a great option for this raid. But again, if it has Focus Blast, you will have to prepare for that somehow, either, I don't know, maybe running like, Bright Powder or something, which is probably not the best idea because then you're relying too much on luck. But another Pokemon that I'm really thinking about that I actually think might be great in this raid, although the downside is not a lot of people have access to it, I don't think, but that is Hisuian Zoroark. So this is a Ghost and Normal type, which is pretty awesome. like that actually ends up being kind of perfect because you are immune to fighting type moves and you are immune to ghost type moves. You do take neutral damage from fire type moves, which kind of sounds bad. However, Hisuian Zoroark does have access to Snarl, so it's possible you could, in the first couple of turns, go for Snarl to lower the Typhlosion special attack stat, and then eventually Terrastallize into either a ghost type or a dark type, and kind of finish them off with a strong move. Actually, you actually might not want to Terrastallize because that'll remove your immunity to ghosts. So yeah, either way though, I kind of like Hisuian Zoroark here, and I actually think that that's where I'm going to start with this raid event, unless we learn, and again, we won't know until Thursday night or Friday, depending on where you are in the world, we won't know whether Typhlosion has Focus Blast or not. If it does have Focus Blast, I'm probably going to try this, Hisuian Zoroark. And if it does not have Focus Blast, again, then I think at that point you can go Hydreigon, you can go Roaring Moon, you can go Houndoom, and have probably a pretty easy time. And of course, as always, you know, I'm talking, I forgot to mention this before, but it probably is obvious. I'm talking specifically about soloing the raid, because that's how I typically play these raids. If you're going online with friends and you're coordinating, it's usually a lot easier to do these raids, and a lot more Pokemon become viable. So anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts. Hydreigon, Roaring Moon, Houndoom, and then possibly Hisuian Zoroark. Although, again, the only way to get Hisuian Zoroark is to either trade with someone who has like Hisuian Zorua to trade you, or you have to buy the DLC. You have to pre-order the DLC. So those are the only ways to get it right now. And of course, I did pre-order the DLC, so I do have it. But let me know in the comments what you think will be a good option for this raid event, because there's probably a lot of Pokemon I'm missing. There's probably also some good water types that'll be in a good spot here. But again, the thing is, you want to be able to hit Ghost super effectively, so you want to have like Dark or Ghost type moves, and preferably be a Dark or Ghost type, but then that opens you up to, again, Focus Blast or Shadow Ball as super effective moves against you. So it's a tricky one, but I'm excited for this. Actually, I think I feel like I'm most excited for Typhlosion than I've been for a lot of the 7-star raids previously, because I think Typhlosion's a cool Pokemon. But anyways, hopefully this helped you out, and let me know in the comments who you plan to bring to this raid event. I'm looking forward to having discussion and seeing what other people are thinking about. And I'll see you on Thursday when I cover this raid event and show you the builds that work for me. Talk to you later.